depending on how you carry yourself out in public, whether you carry yourself in a classy standpoint or not, determines the type of conversation that people will have with you. Welcome to OreoOlive.com. As you know, Oreo olives don't mix, but the abstract thought of putting those two words together has enlightened me to create a channel to discuss various topics. But on today's episode, I have a question that I want to pose to you all. And I want to ask you this to get your opinion, depending on where you live at in the world or whether you go through this or it works for you or not. I want to make sure to gain an understanding in how you what you think about it, because it really does make a difference, and it actually shows how people grow up. But I was having a conversation with the bartender, and what I realized is, depending on how you carry yourself out in public, whether you carry yourself in a classy standpoint or not, determines the type of conversation that people will have with you. And what I realized what the bartender was doing is they were able to start a conversation with me just about business for some reason. And I don't know if that was because how the way that I was carrying myself and I was, just spoke and just kind of minding my business. But what they were telling me about how they were doing things and what they were doing in their life, what the conversation ended up circling to was how back home that they were helping each other. And the person was from Jamaica. And it was very interesting. Out of everything that they were talking to me about, one thing that really stuck out that we don't necessarily have or see a lot here is from their perspective. They were saying back home, growing up, they were taught to help somebody out when they're in need. And that was specifically dealing with family, but just also the general public, meaning a village helps each other from a collectivist standpoint. And as we were dialoguing back and forth, and I was listening to their opinion and they was listening to mine, we was having a really great conversation. And from the perspective that I've always seen things is, we grow through high school, at least on a common level. And from high school, we decide what we want to do with our life. Some of us decide to extend our life into going into a career and preparing for that, while others decide to keep the party atmosphere and go that route and then ask for people to pick up the pieces on the back end. And what the person was telling me was, even if the person decides to mess up their life, it's still the responsibility of the community to help that person out when they're in need. So do you think either one of the perspectives, which one builds even a better community? Is it everybody is for themselves, everybody decides what they want to do in life and you get what you put into it? Or if one person fails in the collectivist society, do you help that person out consistently over and over again? Now, either way that you decide to go with your information in the comments, I definitely want to hear it from both sides, because not only, one way happens within America, but you also have to look at what goes on outside of America. When you look at places like China, for instance, in terms of job situations, it operates more of like a collectivist society. It means everybody rise together. Everybody helps each other. Even being in parts, and as I was discussing with the person and with the bartender, is even places that I've been out of the country. I've been to a lot of countries. And I can tell you that even, as simply as in Africa, I remember being out at a place in Africa, and I saw one gentleman walk up to another gentleman at the truck, and he asked him, if he could have some of his water and some of his crackers that he had. And he had, the little traditional 6-pack of peanut butter crackers and a standard bottle of water. And what he did, what was so profound, is that he shared that bottle of water with the gentleman that was thirsty. And they shared that bottle of water and shared that 6-pack of crackers together. And I took that same scenario and I brought it back to America and I said, okay, would the same thing happen here? And oftentimes it does not. What happens is we're in a me stage and it's all about us. But then the environment that the person grows up in, the place that the person grows up in, determines how that person is going to react to situations. What may work in Jamaica or what may work in Africa or Dubai may not work in the US, and vice versa all across the board. But I want you all to really think about that is take that into your own perspective. Do you feel that society, at least here in America, do we need to focus more on helping everybody else, even though they made the choices that they made in life and we have to clean up the pieces? Or is everybody responsible for themselves? Like, listen, and subscribe to the channel, OreoOlive.com. We'll bring more conversations to you soon.